We have Mr. Levi Whitley, the first annual New Christendom Games Champion. And currently he is at work. He's going to tell us what his work is, but in case we get interrupted, then you'll know exactly why. I want to first ask Levi, who are you, your family, your vocation, where you live, what you're up to, and then we'll dive a little bit more into the games and some other stuff.
All right. So, Levi Whitley, I am a father of 6. Been on the way, been with my wife since I was 13. So we've been married for 13 years now. I live in Kansas, north central Kansas. We have a little farmstead there and got chickens, goats, milk cow. We have bees and I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting. I run an EMS and rescue service, so that's why I might have to go. We've been pretty busy the last couple of days.
You also have ducks and venison, right?
Yes, we have ducks, and then I do kill a lot of deer. I don't harvest. I don't grow them myself. But yeah, no, I hunt deer every year, and also do a lot of dove hunting, turkey hunting, do all sorts of stuff. Trying to get back into fishing like I used to because I live right next to the Republican River, which is one of the bigger rivers in Kansas. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. Okay.
Yep. I used to do a lot of hand fishing, which is not legal in Kansas. So, but
hand fishing, like what? Like Gollum or like the Revenant, where you're just in the water catching them?
Yeah, no, you just go in the water, you find a hole, and you stick your hand in, and you hope it's a fish, and they bite your hand, and you pull them out.
Okay, like with catfish, big catfish and stuff.
Yeah, catfish.
Okay.
That's what.
Okay, yeah, that's super.
Also called noodling. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I run our service here. We are a smaller service. I got 10 full-time counting myself, then I got 7 part-timers, but we stay super busy, and we also do the rescue side, which we're one of 2 in the whole state that does rescue. That's EMS, usually the fire department.
Okay.
Yep.
And you run the whole station?
Yeah. Yep. I am the director.
Cool. Yep. Director out in the field. Awesome. Yeah. So being EMS, you could get a call at any time. Had a busy day already today. So thank you for taking time. All right. You have your met. And your wife, she's a homemaker. She prepares, everything from scratch. You guys post some pictures in our group of making fire cider, all kinds of stuff. So just give me an idea of like the quality of your home life and the priority there.
Quality of home life. I desire to be home all the time. I actually don't like being here. So my wife's fantastic. Like I said, I've been with her since I was 13 and she was 12. And she does a very good job of making sure we have good quality food. And that's because of unfortunately, because of illnesses we've had in the past. But she makes sure that we have whole foods. We have usually a pretty good garden. She likes to can. And then another cool thing about this, we are intergenerational living. So I moved back in about a year and a half ago with my parents because they couldn't manage the farm. We have 13 acres and we've been doing a lot of stuff. Right now, the goal is to make the house better. So it's better for hospitality. So we're working on getting the basement finished because it's always been unfinished. Another cool thing about that is one of my goals growing up was I wanted to build my own house. And I actually marked that off probably 3 or 4 years ago because I'm not ever going to be able to afford this. But I literally helped build this house because we gutted the whole thing, moved it over. We poured the basement. 1 year for my Christmas present, my dad got us snow shovels. And he's like, go clean your room, boys. So we went and scooped snow out of our room before we moved the house. And but yeah, we did all the sheetrock, we roofed it, we did all the siding.
Cool. So the house you're living in, you built with your dad.
Yes. Yep.
That's rad. Okay.
Yeah. So I actually finished that goal without even really thinking what I was doing, but it's been over. We moved it in there in 2002, and my dad got pretty sick physically, and he just couldn't finish stuff. So we still haven't finished the trim in there. So that's a goal that we are going to get done hopefully in the next years to make it so we can host better. And it's a huge house. There's 4 bedrooms upstairs, a bathroom. There's a 1 bedroom main floor, which my parents are, with a master living room, dining room, and then the full basement, that one room that we changed to a complete pantry. Another room we changed into just a furnace room because we have many freezers, and then another just spare room, and then probably a 30 by 15 or 20 like open room that we're going to make to just kick kids out when we are hosting, because I got 6 kids and a lot of my friends have 3 or 4 or 5 kids.
Fills up fast. You just take up a
It
family.
does. It does.
Yeah, we're in a similar spot. We moved into an older house closer to some friends and our school co-op and in the city. And it's a cool little piece of property in the city, but we have a lot smaller space for hosting than we did previously. But you just got to make it work and
Yeah.
still prioritize it and bring people into your home. So yeah, I love the multi-generational living though. That's something that I yearn to start for my kids. And when we're able to finally get a piece of place and God's providence and His provision, that we want to be able to eventually build on that for our own kids. So I mean, it might even just look like us getting some property and then getting to the point where we can slowly build on that. But if I could start my kids off, I'm happy about that. And I'm mentioning that because you had told me last time we talked that you were trying to get some property and you're already thinking about that for your kids, even as young as they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I still own a couple lots in Belleville, which is about 20 miles away. And then the 80 that's around us is my grandmother's.
Mm.
And we're going to end up getting that.
Oh,
And
wow.
then there's another 80 that's a mile away. That's my grandmother's that we're going to try to get as well.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay. So you're like, it's almost like 200 acres in the family that
yeah,
you both
absolutely. And
possess.
so we're trying. We'll see what
Yeah.
finances and all that stuff does, but
Yeah.
also
No,
trying.
that's really encouraging because without getting land and food security, our children don't really have a future. So that's got to be the priority. So, dude, yeah, super pumped about that. And the reason I bring all this up is because in the recap of the New Christendom Conference last year, like the first thing that the guys jumped on in Ogden was that Brian and the King's Hall and Dan and Eric was that the games champion was a father of six. That you're just you're one of us, and you're around the same age as me. You're in your mid-30s. You've got a full-time job, like more than full-time. You direct. You're a leader in your business. You sit in the city gates, so to speak. And then you also have a farm. So no shortage of things that require your attention. Yet you are in shape to the point where you're able to be the champion of the games and are going to be really difficult to beat. I mean, I think the only way you're going to get beat this year is if your wife goes into labor like the day before, which could
I'll
happen.
just bury the baby while I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which you're overqualified to deliver your child as well. Yeah, that's really exciting, man. All right. Now, how did you get in shape to do that? So take me back, a few years. You mentioned the catalyst for you to just be in shape and stay in shape.
Yeah. So the catalyst was I've always enjoyed just working out, and I wrestled in college, so that was just something that I've always like. This is important. Few years after college, I kind of went off working out, didn't do much. But the story that I tell is I sat back one day and I put a beer and I placed it on my belly, and I was 203 pounds. And that day I was like, I can't do this. Like, this was before I even had any kids. It was just Katie and I. So
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm going to support my wife, well, I can't be fat. Like, I just can't do it. And then luckily I got in contact with a guy that was just making some web fitness stuff. And he gave me a really good deal of $25 a month for 3 to 5 workouts a week. And he customized it to me and what I do for work. And it was just a blessing. And with that, I have been consistent. I have not missed a week without having 3 or less workouts in an entire week. So that's been 13 years of at least getting 3 workouts in. So just
Three or
being
more. Okay.
consistent with it.
Yeah. Man, that's encouraging. So I can't be fat. The simple way to put it. And not just I shouldn't be, but I can't be. So you're about 5'7", right? So you said? Okay. So
Yep.
you're at 200 pounds. So yeah, that's big. Now, how much do you weigh now?
190.
Okay. And that is the thing that I was impressed by is you didn't only win the strength component, but you took second. You were like right on the heels of Kevin, who's an extremely fast runner in the endurance portion or the sprinting portion, we'll call it. So you sprinted that mile. It was like, what, 5:40 was your time, somewhere around there?
Yeah.
5:45?
I think it's 550. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fastest
So,
mile I've ran since 7th grade.
okay. Yeah, that's amazing. And obviously, stadium of people there, there's a lot of good pressure. So that's
That helps.
encouraging. So yeah, I mean, everybody pushed harder because of that. But you ran fast, but you also lifted heavy. I'm going to show a video real quick because this was like the day or 2 days before the event, and we just met up. It was the first time I met you and some of the other guys, and we were just doing some lifting for fun at the Stonecutter gym there. That Tate works out of, and they had the heaviest sandbag for the games, which was 250 pounds. So you just showed up and you lifted. Let me start that over. You showed up in front of all the guys and you lifted this, 250-pound bag. And it was your first time doing it, right? Yeah, that was your first time lifting that bag, right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, let me just show up and set the standard right away and pick up this bag that is 60 pounds heavier than myself. And there's a difference between dragging a body that is, that weight and actually lifting it completely off the ground, essentially, and, all the way up to your chest. And then in the games, you got it on your shoulder just like there. And how many times did you do that?
2.
Okay. Yeah. So 2 reps, getting it all the way to your shoulder, the ground shoulder. And then you go and you run the second fastest mile of anybody there. So you have an incredible amount of strength in not a huge body and also an incredible amount of speed, which is something that a lot of guys don't have. There were some really strong guys there that really suffered on the run because they don't have that sprinting ability. So again, take me to your training. You said you had a guy that customized it for you. That's encouraging because it's exactly one of the things that we offer to our guys in our group. We have everything from like self-paced, multiple options, and then we've got a guy that is doing a progressive program. And it's 3 days a week. That's what I'm doing right now. And so we offer those same things to guys. And the common conviction that dudes have in our group is, in general, right now that we're seeing in Christendom, we have a really big private group chat. And then we also have our school community where guys are really doing, putting the pedal to the metal. And the common conviction is I can't be fat. And not only should I not be fat, but I've got to be strong. So tell me how that plays a role into your work, because you have to be physically strong in order to do what you do. And then, of course, you also have a farm and all these other responsibilities.
Right. So the biggest thing is just being consistent with it and being able to be functional in what I do. So I do a lot of just full body movements, but I also do a lot of just accessory stuff. And the reason I do the accessories is to make sure that my tendons and ligaments are keeping up and I'm able to lift things in awkward positions. Just an example, yesterday we had a lady that was deceased and we had to get her onto the backboard from where she was laying in the recliner. And she had been there for a few days. So she was a little bit bigger than normal. It was the first time I've never almost not zipped the body bag. I don't know if you've seen body bags.
Yeah.
They're fairly round. So and then we had
This
to
was
get
a morbidly obese person then.
Yeah. And then, well, and it didn't help. She had been there for a while. So she was also pretty bloated. And then we have to get this out of a mobile home. So I don't know if you guys have been in a mobile home.
Yeah. I remodeled and lived in a mobile home when we first moved up here to Washington. And yeah, they don't make them easy to get in and out of.
Yeah, they don't make them for EMS. So just being able to do that and not be able to like, hey guys, I can't do this. So the answer is never no, it's how. So if I can just make sure that my physical fitness is good for my job and be able to get somebody out, because here's the other thing. We've been in this house before and she was not dead and she was unresponsive. So it's still no help to be able to get her out. And we have to be able to get her out safely. We have to be able to get her out safe for us, safe for her. So you have to be able to train for that. And it's just being consistent in the workouts and then making sure that you're lifting heavy, but also be able to lift heavy in like awkward positions.
Yeah.
And then tying that over to the farm, my wife loves landscaping, and in Kansas we have tons of limestone, and she never finds little guys. They're big, they're awkward, and sometimes they're in a decent shape to carry. But most time it's like she has one that's, I couldn't even tell you the weight of it. It's probably 4 foot by 3 foot and then about probably 3 to 4 inches thick. And she goes, I want that up there. And so to be able, I can go grab the tractor and all that stuff. But in my eyes, I'm like, I like to work harder than smarter sometimes just to challenge myself. And I was able to get to that rock exactly where she wants it and just be able to function that way. And then also like with having a cow, I'm going to have to possibly help pull this calf someday. So I have to be able to do that. Sometimes the goats get a little rough. So we got to be able to manage a goat. One time the goat was actually
just to give a visual to the limestone there. There's our group of guys out in Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
We did some stone lifting, but we also did one of the projects that we were doing there was basically paving. We were cutting these stones by hand. So some of them were pulled out of the side of the hill there. And then we were cutting them with all hand tools. This was at the direction of one of our chapter leaders, Mikey. and then laying this foundation of limestones that were, from the region, and then some of them quarried right there. And this is
That's
for
beautiful.
part of the church. So yeah, I can confirm these things are insanely heavy, and it's amazing how well they split and everything when you do it right. But that's no joke. So there's obviously real world utility to that, and then saving people's lives. You also mentioned recently there was a coworker that you were that was really heavy, and you guys had a little interaction on the subject.
Oh yeah. So it was back when I was at the fire department, and he's not a small dude. He's about 6'5", 250, 260. And he asked me like, why do I work out so hard? And I asked him the question of, if we go inside of a house fire, who's going in with you? And he goes, well, you are. And I was like, so what happens if you go down? Who's getting you out? And he goes, well, I guess you are. And if you add bunker gear and equipment and SCBA, it's around an extra 100 pounds. So
Wow.
he's like, yeah, go ahead, keep working out so hard.
Yeah, and that's when you're like, all right, you need to work out with me. So,
Yeah.
To bridge on that, you've got how many guys in your fire department there, in your EMS service, that are part of the Brotherhood?
Part of the Brotherhood, I just have one, but we also do a monthly challenge, and there's 5 of us. So
Okay.
we have I have a 1 part-timer, and then I have 3 full-timers that we do a monthly challenge every single month. We're actually doing it tomorrow, and
Is
it's
this the Mountain Tough Challenge?
It is, but we have to tweak it a little bit because that one's with assault bikes. So the current challenge is 25 calories on an assault bike, and then if you don't make it, and then you have 1 minute to do 25 calories.
Okay.
And then if you don't make that, you have the next minute to, so say you only get 20 calories, you have to do a lunge per one you didn't make. And if you don't do that, you're done. So it's literally a test of who can go the longest. So we are doing burpees
Okay.
per calorie. So we're going to do 20 burpees. And if you don't do 20 burpees, then you have to do lunges. So it's going to be tough.
Yep, for sure. And plain's tough, we'll say, because there's not mountains out there. But yeah, no, that's amazing. Okay, so yeah, you've got dudes that work for you that are in the Brotherhood, and then you're also part of the Kansas chapter. So we've got guys all across the state, and you guys meet up fairly regularly. So tell me a little bit more about how that is formed since we met last summer at the games, and then you joined the Brotherhood, and then how you guys are growing and developing that, because you and Skylar are the leaders of that.
Yeah, so I met Skylar at the conference, and then we kind of just hooked up with a couple guys that were already part of school, and we like Hosius, and then Andrew Galloway. I think I met him through Hardman podcast. I don't remember. Asked him to come over if he wanted to join us, and Andrew and Hosius are about 20 minutes apart from each other. Skylar, what's that?
I was just correcting you. It's the Brutal American podcast now, but yeah, Hardman at the time.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Brutal American.
I'm totally messing with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then Spencer White is another one. And so he's in Hutch. He's about 2 hours away. Skylar and I are about an hour away. So that's our like main little group that we have in Kansas. So, and then we do a couple things together. The first thing we did, we just met, there's a zoo that's like in central Kansas. We met at the zoo, and then just kind of got together there. And then we were going to meet.
I'm assuming with all the families, you didn't go to the zoo.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whole family. There's a picture somewhere. And then we were going to meet.
I saw that. I was teasing him. You probably just a bunch of grown men going to the zoo.
Yeah.
Maybe to challenge the gorillas.
Well, let's think about it. I thought about you could climb into the lion's den, but my wife said no.
I wouldn't doubt you up against the lion, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I would lose, but I would try.
Yeah. You'd do some damage.
Yeah. I'd poke it in the eye or something. And then we were going to meet at the Sternberg, which is a museum with like dinosaurs and stuff like that. So that would have got interesting to be able to discuss then what the truth is.
Yeah.
That's
always fun when we go there and I'm like, you know where it says millions of years, kids? Shave off a few zeros. That was just not that long ago to get people's reactions. So, yeah. So you guys are going to do that, or you've already done that?
We were going to, but the winter storm came through, so we didn't make it. So it's still on the agenda, but we're trying to do quarterly to get together.
Okay. Yeah. I'm super encouraged by that. Last time I was talking to Hosias, he was like, we're going to be meeting up soon. So assuming the storm nixed that, but you guys are just taking initiative and doing it, which is really encouraging to me. And then you've also just been a leader in the Brotherhood community on school, encouraging guys, joining them to do stuff, posting regularly, doing your weekly tracker. And let's go into that. And then I want to transition into nutrition at the end, because there's been some pretty significant things that your family has undergone and has come through on the other side. So first, with the group and our weekly tracker going through these 7 daily habits, I love that you are demonstrating all of these. So that would include devotions with your wife, family worship, working out every morning. Your wife also does these things with you. Our wives are good friends. All of our wives, since we hung out last year at the conference and made meals together, and our kids are swimming and everything. So it actually getting to know your family, it means a lot, because being anchored to these disciplines that make us godly men and make us productive is really important. So tell me a little bit about that, why it's important to you, and then just what your day looks like as far as executing on those things.
Oh, absolutely. So I have been very blessed by just the Be Regenerate in school and being able to get with a group of guys that are on the same mission. And I also think it's super encouraging that you can see just where the span is. Because
Mm.
the other day we got on Proverbs and there was a guy from the UK on there.
Oh,
So
Josh, yeah.
yeah, Josh, that's his name. And just seeing like just we're all on the same mission. We are all fairly convicted at the same time about certain things, which is also you can see just God working through that. But just kind of the day, what it looks like is I wake up between 4:30 and 5, and I do my own devotionals, get my own readings, and then I will wake my wife up around 6, and then we'll do a reading together and do our devotionals together, which we use Table Talk. And then we just finished the book, Enjoying the Little Years.
Right?
I'm sorry.
Was it the Jewel of Christian Contentment?
I did that with
Oh, some of the
Jose.
other guy. Okay.
Yeah, Macias,
Yeah.
yeah, and Alex. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did that with, but Katie and I, we finished Face to Face. That was a really good one. I did that
Mhm.
with my local group here. And
Nice.
then we just finished the book, Enjoying the Little Years by Rachel Jankovic.
Okay.
So
Sweet.
we're getting ready to start. Good one is John Calvin's Institutes. So that one's going to take a little
You
bit.
and your wife created institutes?
Yeah. So we're going
That's
to go
amazing.
through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, my wife reads way faster than me, and it took me multiple years to get through the institutes, but that'd be really cool. We're going through the Rare Jewel of Christian Contentment. We got through about half of it, and then we just decided to go back and pick it up again. And it's fantastic book. Things like that, like institutes, especially. There's so much written in altogether. It's a huge volume, right? Two
Yes.
volume set, but then how much is said in just one little section? Yeah, it'll blow your mind. So that's really encouraging that you guys are going to do that. Now, okay, you're saying that you get up, you have an hour or so of devotions on your own, and then you and your wife do that together, and then you work out after that, right? So that's like 2 hours of
Yeah,
study,
absolutely. So,
and then you have little kids. So when do your kids wake up?
whenever.
Yeah.
So like this morning we did our workout and we had our youngest, my son, who's the third youngest, and then my second oldest, and they're out there with us. And what's fun is Katie and I are doing a workout, and Esther's over there. She's my second oldest, punching the my punching bag. So I threw them. I have 3 sets of boxing gloves. 2 were kids, and they had headgear on, and they were over there just hitting each other and doing stuff like that, which made me think of a really cool idea. Is I have climbing things that I'm gonna put against one of my walls at the gym that's right next to the
Yeah.
line, so they can start climbing on that, because I had it at our old house on telephone poles, so they can climb the telephone poles. But now I'm gonna put it in the gym, so they're just laying around. Yeah,
Nice.
they're awake. They join us. So
Dude, yeah, that's cool. Just including them in it. And then when do you guys have breakfast after all that?
yeah, yeah. So and then usually, like we spoke last time, my girls are arguing who's making dad's egg sandwich. So I haven't made an egg sandwich in quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. My same thing. My second son, he's like helping make breakfast, putting my fresh mills of bread, and then he was toasting it up for us this morning. And my wife did her workout and was able to make some eggs, and then we did our family worship before I took off. So yeah, getting all those things done. Now, some guys don't take they don't invest as much time tonight getting up at 4:30. Like I don't spend that much time in devotions in the morning because I'm not getting up early enough. So it's an encouragement to me for sure. But spending time doing that with, so having your own time with the Lord so that you can then lead your wife. I always notice that if I don't at least pray beforehand and kind of get my heart right, I'm not confident, even though I just do it anyways. But a lot of times I'm not at that level where I'm like able to feed my family. So you got to be fed, then you're feeding your family spiritually, then you are disciplining and exercising the body. I actually like to do at least get some cold water on my head, and maybe go outside real quick or just do some quick workouts so that when I'm doing my devotions and stuff like that, I'm just more active and awake. Sounds like you just have plenty of energy that it's not a problem for you.
Oh,
Drink some
I'm very
coffee.
well caffeinated.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. I do my caffeine after my workout. My coffee, at least. That's just kind of been my habit, so that it's a reward for me after I do the work. Otherwise, I'll tend to just take my time and then not do the things I need to do. So we have all that to say. We have a little bit different of a pattern, but the priority is that you get these things done before the day starts, before you're off to work. So you've already had your own time with the Lord. You've already had quality time with your family. That's both physical and spiritual. You're being nourished in both areas. You have breakfast together, and then your kids are just getting in the mix. One of the greatest things about homeschooling, and as soon as they're able to. And then I'm assuming you have some farm duties that you take care of before you head out to work.
I do, but a lot of that's done. So since I moved in, my mom was able to retire.
Yeah.
So they use my salary to help compensate with just farm expenses, and just it's expensive to live in the country.
Yeah.
So my mom actually does the majority of it. She goes, feeds the chickens, let them out, feeds the ducks, waters the goats, makes sure all that stuff.
Nice.
So my mom's like my own little farm hand,
Okay.
and she
Well,
loves it.
that's the whole family are line. That's how most families in history and still today in the world get by.
Yeah. So, but if something happens, she just hollers. Like if for some reason the goats aren't popping up to be milked, she'll like, hey, we need help with the goat. And the other day she called me when I was working out and said, I need your help. Our cow had stepped on this piece of plastic and it was stuck around her hoof. So I had
Oh,
to go and get that off and do stuff like that. But I
okay.
really don't have much farm work, but that's going to change once we have our calf, which is due March 6th. So it's
Yeah,
changing
big change.
anytime.
And there's other guys in the. I mean, obviously you have experience of this growing up, but yeah, I was talking about with Hosias about that, just calving season coming up and the lack of sleep that entails, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, really cool. Okay, do your kids help your mom out as well with the farm stuff?
Yep. So we're slowly starting to transition. And now my two oldest girls, they're responsible for putting the chickens away. So at night, so they go out there and it's about 50, 75 yards away from the house, and they'll go out there with flashlights. Usually takes way too long, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Um,
it's about
and
teaching them about rushing.
yeah,
Yeah,
my oldest is 10, and then my second oldest is 8. So just trying to start transitioning all that stuff to them, the little responsibilities that they have, and then they'll help with like milking if they need to. But my mom and my wife, they milk the goat, but the goats and the cow are in the same lot, so we have
okay.
to like tie the cow up so she doesn't go eat all the grain and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So right now the
Well,
heavy emphasis is on with my mom and wife that are doing it, but I'm
you're
there
very
while
you're
they
you're
are
well, you're
doing it.
pregnant wife. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's incredible.
Yes.
Regular pioneer farm family. Okay, last question on that before we transition into Harper's story in working with Dr. Jolly and myself. I'm assuming your schedule changes because of the nature of EMS, like you're on for days and then you're off for days. So you just carry out that routine with worship and working out and all that kind of stuff when you're at home, and then does it change when you on the days you have to go to work because you have to go in earlier or something?
Not necessarily. So, since I'm the director, I'm salaried, so I don't
Oh,
have a set shifts like that I have to work.
okay.
So, I usually go into the office around 9, and I try to leave about 3 or 4. That has changed quite a bit in the last couple of years, because it used to be I was in by 7 and I was leaving by like 5 or 6. But I have built up a really good team. My team's fantastic here at work.
Okay.
If I didn't go in, I don't, things would get like, we're running 2 calls right now, and uh, I didn't have to go help because the team's fantastic. So if I wasn't here, I'd be on one of those 2 calls. And then also my schedule's flexible. Like yesterday we got dispatched to a multi-vehicle accident with an ejection at 5:45 in the morning. So my time started at 5:45, and I was able to leave at 3. So I still try to get about 40 hours in a week. It's all over the place where
So you have to be flexible for those interruptions. So you have like a normal routine, but then if something changes, you have to go into work. But then I mentioned earlier, sitting in the city gates, you're a solid leader, no surprise. So that your team, you've given them authority, you've delegated correctly, you've trained them so that they can handle that stuff, so that you have flexibility as well on the other end. So yeah, very encouraging. I think just model emphasis there. Now, to end off, let's talk about your daughter
okay.
and what you guys have gone through with that the last year or so. 'Cause you guys are eating really healthy. You improved a lot of that. Moving on to the farm sounds like it's always a priority for your wife, and but then you had to work through some special circumstances.
No, absolutely. So really the eating healthy started about 2012, 2013 when my wife was diagnosed with UC. And at that point, I did not do my due diligence as a husband and help her research. She just did it on her own. And I just supported her financially with whatever needed to be done. I definitely slacked there being a new husband. And then she got most of it figured out with diet, and we were doing the paleo and just doing stuff like that. So we ate fairly healthy already. And then my oldest, Harper, started in 24, about April time. She started having some pretty good GI stuff with like bleeding and some pretty like uh, a lot in consistency. And we went to the doctor, we went to a couple specialists and didn't agree with what they wanted to do, but still got it figured out diet. And then we went to the games and Harper got sick again right when we got back. And this one, she actually got worse, but she didn't have the same symptoms. She wasn't having any like the blood, but she was just going consistently she lost 7 pounds in a day once. So got super, super
Just
sick.
passing everything through. Yeah, not
Yeah.
retaining the nutrients.
Yeah, and not be able to like my wife was one of the conversations we had was she goes, Katie's like, this is different. Like this is not the same thing. This something's different here. So with the help with you and the help with Melinda, we were able to figure out like it was an absorption issue. Like she wasn't absorbing, so she was literally slowly starving to death, even though she was still eating. And so we just in the middle of that, my wife asked, like, hey, what do you think about moving out to your parents and actually doing our own little homestead? And I was very surprised at first, had the conversation with my parents, and they think that's fantastic. And I'm actually the second oldest. I have an older brother. So I sat down, we went out to lunch together. I was like, hey, this is kind of our plan, but I want to honor him for being the
Mhm.
firstborn and be like, this is me going to be inheriting all of it. Are you okay with that? And he's like, absolutely. He goes, because it's going to benefit me as well, because he's got some issues as well, like health wise. So and he's a mechanic and the dude can fix anything. So he has saved me tens of thousands of dollars on equipment fixes. And so I got that blessing from him. And then we moved out there, started the stuff and really got Harper reset. And she's been doing fantastic lately. And that's a lot to do with the supplements that we were getting through Neo Life. She can't swallow pills. She still tries to every once in a while and she ends up gagging and throwing up. But
Cool.
we were able to break the capsules and then dump
Yeah.
them in there. And that
We
was
had,
just,
we had to get creative with that, right? Like
yeah.
do whatever we can that was in liquid form, which thankfully there's some, chew or break open capsules, and then really working on like the healing and regeneration of the gut with things like aloe and even a lot of the stuff that you guys make. And then and then Dr. Jolly really like pinpointed enzymes, right? And then also
Yep.
like a tincture to go with that.
Yep. So right now, the only thing she does, and she doesn't even do that consistently. Now we're slowly starting to weed that off. She does digestive enzymes.
Mm.
And if she starts having like looser stools or something, we'll get her on the digestive enzymes. She still does a tincture every once in a while. I think we're actually yesterday was the last day of those. So 10
Mm.
drops on the tongue before she goes to bed and 10 drops when she wakes up. So getting that stuff figured out, we've had 3 visits with her and she has just been fantastic. And then,
Yes, this is Dr. Jolly. This is who I work with. So for the guys in our VIP group and extended from that, she does discounted services for us, which includes you send in what is it, saliva and then hair and nail sample, right?
yep.
And
hmm
then she's able to pinpoint from that what are the specific nutrients the body's asking for, what are the organs that are under strain, and then a bunch of other things, parasites, all kinds of stuff. So wow, man, that's really encouraging. So a lot of faith during that time, though. I mean, you're changing your lifestyle. You move. You knew what to improve dietarily because of your wife's background with that, but then you also reached out for what we call concentrated nutrition to really try to get the nutrient levels up, the density of them from really good whole food pharmaceutical grade sources, and then on top of that, the other holistic things that the doctor did. But what about trusting the Lord through all of that, doing all the right things? Because even though you said you didn't do your due diligence earlier, which I would say you at least provided for your wife. It's not as common now, particularly guys with our age, but when I first started this like 15 years ago, it was super common for the husband to not only not be interested, but then kind of be against the wife wanting to make some of those changes. And occasionally that was flipped around. But it's slowly changed, particularly with guys in our generation, where it's like, yes, we all know we need to be eating healthier. Our parents are sick. We're going to be sicker than them unless we do things radically different. The quality of the food and the nutrients and the supplements is worth investigating and investing in, so that we can have better health. And so while you didn't necessarily do the research yourself, you did provide for your wife to do that. But it sounds like you've just come more on board with that. But what you shared with me about, trusting the Lord and all of that, and you guys growing as a family, and even where Harper is with her faith, just touch on that.
Oh, absolutely. So just to be able to, I believe 100% that the Lord hears the prayers of the righteous. So with this group and with our local church, I know there was hundreds of people praying for Harper, and just to see her grow through it and be able to use verses and to encourage her, because I would ask her, like, do you believe the Bible is 100% true? She's like, yeah. So to go to Proverbs 17:22, where a joyful heart is good medicine. So I would tell her, like, what's the best medicine? Like, God said when he created things, what is it? And he goes, it's good.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is the best medicine here then? He says, good medicine. What's the best medicine? She goes, a joyful heart. So
Mm,
and to see her work through that was absolutely amazing. And just to see her grow in her faith and to see her actually trust what God's word says was absolutely amazing. And she's done some few things that have just been just very proud as a father. Like we were getting ready to send in the last sample, and she goes, "Hey, I want to write Melinda a letter." So I don't know what the letter said,
yeah.
but when we talked to Melinda last time, Melinda said it's hanging up right above my computer
Oh,
because she's grown. She's only 10, but just grown mature wise in her faith faster than I've seen anybody. And like the other day, I was encouraging her. She's like, I'm not feeling well. So I was like, well, what's going on? She goes, I don't know. So I think this little bit of hormone stuff gone. And I go, so what's good medicine? She goes, a joyful heart. I was like, so what can we do with that? I was like, can you pray? Can you go read your Bible? She goes, yep, yep. And she walked, and I saw her on the couch, and she was sitting there reading about 30 minutes later. So just trying to encourage her through that has been absolutely amazing. And I 100% believe that it was because of the prayers that she got better. And it was because of the prayers that we all grew in our faith. And there was definitely trials through that, even in our local church, of like just people just kind of balking at what we're doing. So it was, if you look at that, and James, like, he
yeah.
talks to be joyful in our trials. I'm like, all right, this is a trial. So again, what are we supposed to be? Joyful. Like,
Yeah, yeah, especially
turn.
because James is talking about people who are not necessarily like physically diseased, but they are sick with essentially depression is the sickness that's mentioned there because of persecution, and obviously that can also come from being physically diseased. Man, I'm super encouraged by that. Your daughter's joy, that being medicine, focusing on the nourishment from the Word of God first, and that carrying us through. Because no matter how good we do with nutrition and all this other stuff, and we do have a responsibility to do that and to take care of our wives and our children and our own bodies, we can be there for them. But our bodies are still going to get sick. They're still going to wear down, and that's part of the trials of living in this life. You can minimize that. You can maximize your energy, but holding on to the truth of Scripture and letting it feed. So that's what it plays into this anti-Gnostic understanding of health that we have in this day. I've got to do the things that God says when it comes to hands-on food and medicine and lifestyle, and then I also have to have the right attitude. And because of the joy, I'm sure that her body was healed a lot faster in that whole process. That's one of the things that Melinda talks about, right? She goes through the organs and how your emotions are being affected by what's going on, and once you know that, then you can alter that, and you can let God's word transform you there. So, man, I'm really proud of you, brother. Thanks for just being super open and willing, and you guys being the model family to coach, and also for your coaching that you've done for me and for other guys, just encouraging us to do a lot better. So really excited. The next baby is due right around the games, right?
Yeah. June 16th.
Okay. Yeah.
We're excited.
You're determined to come, right? You've already got a place in your name.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I bought tickets when they came out. I bought the
Yeah.
family pack right away, saved some money. And we've been talking to Hoseas and Skylar. They bought tickets as well. So we've been looking at places. It's really hard to find a house that's big enough for, how many kids is there? 15 kids and 6 adults.
Yeah. No joke. Yeah. One of our other dudes, the Texas chapter leader, um, called me the other week and was like, "Hey, let's look at some Airbnbs for our 2 families to share and potentially a third." Yeah, it is. It's hard to find, but they're out there. So don't delay. Jump on that if you're going to go. And we look forward to seeing Levi compete there again this year and all that stuff. And again, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for encouraging the brothers. And God bless you in your work today. Can you give us a final charge?
Yes, I'm gonna do the same one. Let me go back. So I'm gonna go off of our family verse and 10. So let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we reap, if we do not give up. So then, as we have the opportunity, let us do good to everyone, especially those of the household of faith. So final charge is let's just keep doing good. Don't give up. Like Christ's victory was won on the cross, and we have a duty to do. So keep doing good, support the brothers, and do good to all.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.